This episode of Techno Buffalo is brought to you by Netflix. Welcome back to another episode of Rettinger's Rants. I'm your host, John Rettinger. This is the show where I usually get my ranties in a bunch about something going on in the world of technology. This week, though, I have heard your cries. People want to know what the best phones of all time were. I get them in Ask the Buffalo, I get them on the comments all the time, and I don't want to get them anymore. So I'm going to answer what my top 10 smartphones, or at least phones, of all time are. This week, I'm going to go through numbers 10 through 6, and then next week on Rettinger's Rant, so next Wednesday, you are going to see the top 5, and that will be 5 through number 1. So without more of my jibber jabbering, let's get to the countdown. So these are the top 10 smartphones that had an impact on me in somehow or some way, and phones I really thought paved the way for all the phones that we've got right now. Let's start with number 10. This is the Nokia 5100. This was my first phone back in 98, 99-ish, and it started my love affair with the industry. It had removable faceplates, and of course, I rocked a yellow Lakers cover. The crazy thing was, though, it needed a separate battery in order for it to have a vibrate mode, which used to be pretty standard back in the day. This thing was built like a tank, although that vibrating battery only lasted a few hours, but it was all I needed to play some Snake. I love me some Snake. Black and white Snake trying to get that little guy, and it gets longer. Great game. Number 9, the Motorola Dynatac 800X, better known as the Zach Morris phone. I never had a chance to use one, but every time I saw it, I always wanted to go timeout and see what Slater and Kelly are up to. I know, I totally just dated myself. This thing was huge. I mean, you could have fit like 30 normal sized smartphones nowadays in there. All it did was make phone calls, had a huge antenna. When you think of like old school phones, that is exactly the phone you're gonna think of. Number 8, company we haven't heard from in quite a while, the Sanyo SCP-5300. This is the first camera phone in the US, and it hit with Sprint PCS back in 2002. You think back, cameras and phones now are what you expect. You know, they shoot 1080p, you can use them as a dedicated camera. You know, they compete with point and shoots, and sometimes they can compete with lower end DSLRs. They become so ubiquitous in our phones nowadays, we kind of take them for granted. But I remember when camera phones first came out, it was absolutely incredible, and I remember seeing it in the store and just not being able to believe that you could actually have a camera in a phone. I remember trying to think of a way to justify this phone to myself, and the way I did it was, if I ever get in a car accident, it'd be really nice to be able to take pictures of the license plate. So back then, you used to have to keep a disposable camera or something in your glove box so you could take pictures if you were in an accident. So that's how I justified it to myself, that I needed a camera phone. And this guy was super low resolution. I believe it was 0.3 megapixels, but it was still a freaking camera on a phone, and it was pretty awesome. Number 7, this is an old favorite, the Palm Treo 600. It was released in 2003. It was really the it gadget from 2003 to 2004 until BlackBerries overtook them in popularity. It took 3 to 4 days to fully deplete the charge of one of these guys, and it was, at least as far as I'm concerned, the first fully successful merger of phone, PDA, and camera, which kind of made it the business tool of choice. Plus, I still love that keyboard. Poor Palm. It ran Palm's OS, which they used until not that long ago. When it was first released, it was incredible. It was a full PDA. You could use a stylus on it. You can make phone calls. It had a super bad web browser, but it still had a web browser. It was pretty impressive technology for the day. And the phone packed it into a pretty nice size as well. If you look around though, you still might see a few people rocking a Palm Treo. Maybe its sequel to 650, but you might still see them out in the wild. Number 6, the last phone on this countdown is the BlackBerry Pearl. This is the phone I carried the day the iPhone came out in 2007, and I loved everything about it. Unfortunately, once that iPhone came out, I stopped carrying the BlackBerry Pearl, but I love this guy. It took a while to get used to that crazy keyboard, you know, that had the 2 letters per. Once you got used to it, it was super fast, and BlackBerry, even still, had email absolutely nailed. The browser was okay, the music player was okay. The fact that you could have kind of a full keyboard and be able to text so fast on a phone that was the size of, you know, most Nokia phones at the time was really cool. I always have a soft spot in my heart for BlackBerry, and that was really because of the BlackBerry Pearl. So let me stop the countdown for a minute. Just too much excitement. Thank our friends and sponsors at Netflix. Netflix is really the only way to stream TV shows and movies to your television, your phone, your tablet, via really any sort of media player out there. Streaming devices like Roku, Apple TV, consoles like Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii, or Nintendo Wii U. You know it, you love it, you should sign up for Netflix. and let them know we sent you. Go to netflix.com/buffalo and sign up today to get a 30-day free trial of movie streaming, TV show watch in action. Again, that's netflix.com/buffalo. So that was our top 6. Next week, we'll be coming at you with 5 till 1. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree with my list? Some of these phones probably before your time, and I just made myself sound super old. But I want to hear your thoughts, so leave them where I'm pointing down at my business. Check it out. Until next week, I'm John Rentier from Techno Buffalo, and I will see you in the next video.